Peace and blessings, sisters and brothers, beloved. Welcome to Because God Said So, the unapologetic healing space for Black families, for justice involved men rewriting their stories, and for the women who held it all together and now want more than survival. I'm your host, Aseelah Z. Carter. I'm a wife, a daughter, a mother of 14, a grandmother of 25, a transformational speaker, a coach, and founder of Family Structure First. This podcast is for the builders, the believers, the ones breaking cycles and curses and building legacies, not just because they want to, but because God said so. We're talking healing, structure, money, roles, faith, and family, raw and real. The movement will be televised. So breathe deep, sit up, or press play on the move. Either way, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
There we go. What in the world was going on? Technology trying to not let us be great today, y'all. We ain't gonna let that happen. We ain't gonna let that happen. And not at all. Not when we have such a phenomenal line up today. Do you hear me? I've been waiting for this all week, literally. Literally waiting for this all week. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited about this. How y'all
Yeah,
doing?
definitely. Pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Can't complain.
Absolutely.
I know
Trying
that's
to, my bad, I'm trying to put oh, there you go. Oh, it's already on there. All right, my fault.
all right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up these questions we got going on because, I sat for a minute thinking
Yeah,
about our Black men and what we have gone through. Of course, I'm not a Black man, but us as Black community, I had to sit and really think about it with these questions. So I hope that the questions that y'all have in front of you are not too invasive, but we have many out here who really need to hear what y'all are about to speak about. And so first I want to say, with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, we pray that he allows our voices to flow today. We pray that he allows the voices and the words that we speak today to reach who they are supposed to reach, who our voices and these words are supposed to reach. We ask that he guides us, protects us, and blesses us for doing the work that some are scared to do. I mean, and I thank y'all for joining. So first I'm going to introduce the both of you because I want both of you to chime in at the same time, and I want our audience to know exactly who they are talking to and who's speaking. So I'm going to start with Hyfa. I'm going to start with Ty, actually, because Hyfa, I don't think sent me his speaking points. How he wanted me to introduce him.
oh, that, and my
So
apologies with that. I wanted
it's
you to
okay.
just introduce me the way you wanted to. I didn't really have,
Just do what I do and
yeah, that's
introduce
what I
you
was,
and as what I know of who I know of Hypha.
yeah,
I think I
I
could do
was
that. I
comfortable with that.
think I know you a little bit. A little bit. A little bit. Hey, that's dope. I could do that. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with Ty. Okay. I'm gonna introduce him. Taki, I want to welcome. Ty is your nickname, what you go by on your channel, which is Daytime TV, a play on your name. I love that. And I want to, it says a lot of us know you as Ty, absolutely, a music artist by the name of Don, a tech lover. You are definitely tech savvy, and you just graduated and you now have your certifications for for cybersecurity. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I love that for you. I love that for you. And he is an avid gamer. Okay. His daytime TV uh, uh, platform. He loves gaming, and you've been able to use gaming as an outlet for yourself. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But most of us know you, and I love this last part. Most of us who know you, who know Don, aka Ty, aka Ty Key, know you as a proud Black father of 4 beautiful kids. Give it up for Ty. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Welcome to Because God Said So.
Thank you.
And then we have Hyfa, aka Daniel, aka father of 2, aka just all around. You're just a good guy.
Oh, thank you.
And I love that. I love that you're an example for your community, not only the community that you came from, which is Newburgh, New York. You hail from Newburgh, New York. But now you're in Tampa. So I know you don't like to be called a Floridian, but it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, you a Floridian, you represent Tampa right now, because your name really rings bells. It rings bells in Newburgh, New York, but you got that bell ringing down there in Tampa. You are not only a hip hop artist in Tampa, you have been on so many podcasts. You have hit the stage all across. You have been traveling, winning awards for your freestyle. I love that you're still an underground artist, which we're going to get into that in a minute, why you chose to stay, because you're definitely talented enough to be signed. But is signed always the best avenue for us in the community? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I love that you are such a full-time father in your children's life, above all and above everything, right? So
thank you.
I want to welcome you also to Because God Said So. And thank you both for taking the time to come and speak about a topic that I think is very sensitive, not just for the Black community, but for Black men, period. It's something that it's always been kind of taboo to talk about, and that is the mental health state of our Black men. I love that you guys are about to be candid with me. This is exclusive. Y'all are hearing this first here on Because God Said So. Normally when Hyfa's on, he's talking about the music industry. He's talking about his career as an artist. But today he's showing up as a Black man who is out here in this world, and he is doing the best he can to make it happen. And ultimately, for the both of them, the ultimate goal is to make it back home safe every night to your family.
Absolutely.
So I thank God for that. So, Hyfa, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. You lived a journey. You've been through a lot, and I say I'm going to start with you because you're older, and so just by default, I'm going to start with Hyfa because he's been through some things. He's been through some things that has been painful in your life. You've been through defining what your purpose is in life. Talk to us, for those who don't know you outside of what I said. Give us a little bit of Hyfa. Give us what you would want people to know about you.
Well, it's a lot. In a nutshell, though, I'm a regular, just a simple person, and in this day and age, sometimes that's even uh I'll say it could be ridiculed, like in the in the relationship realm of things. You know what I'm saying? Saying you simple, so it could be looked at as being boring or whatever. But I'm a simple person. I've been through a lot, but I think, and I could be wrong, but it seems like, and I've talked to mom about this a lot. Other people will acknowledge or like I'll belittle what I've been through, because I don't want to, for whatever the reason is. Like, I don't know if it's because I don't want to, I don't want no pity. Um, I don't want to seem like I'm bragging either, because especially in hip hop, it's like you want to say, yo, I've been through the trenches, son. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I'm humble, by default. Like I've just been like that all my life.
Yeah.
Even when I tried to not be humble and be, boastful and stuff like that, it didn't do me right health wise, mental health wise. And I know we probably gonna get into that later on, but
Yeah.
I just I found out at that, throughout life that I'm supposed to be laid back. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to have a calmness to myself. So that's me in a nutshell, man. I don't like drama. I don't like you know I'd rather be part of the solution if I can. I really don't like, I just I don't like confrontation, but
Yeah.
um but I'll handle business if I have to,
I hear that.
and then get back to just peace. So that's just me, simple, and still trying to figure things out too.
Woo, as we all are, as we go and day by day, we trying to make
Yeah,
it happen still. So what I heard is you just a man that likes peace. You value
yeah,
your peace, and I love that. I love that.
yeah. And I'm still striving for it because I feel like I still haven't like reached ultimate all around peace in my life. So I am still like trying to restructure certain things to 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 find that.
Because it's definitely important that we protect our peace. So where you may not have it, where you feel like you're living in the ultimate peace, the object of the game is protecting what peace you do have.
Yeah,
Because sometimes we can't control what's going on, but we can definitely protect what we do have. So
yeah,
I definitely hear you on that.
yeah.
Ty, you know, talking about peace, I was joking with you the other day about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids. And I know that you're a gamer now and you love to, that's kind of your outlet, but sports for a long time was your, I don't know if I would say it was your source of peace, but you would definitely like, you ate, slept, and drink as you did too, Hyfa. Sports, I think for Black men, for a lot of Black men, it is definitely an outlet. But for you, Ty, it was like your identity. It was like if you weren't on some kind of case in point. Let me just share this. Do you mind if I share a story about you real quick?
Go ahead.
So for those of you who don't know, Ty is my oldest son. Okay, so I know just a tad bit about him,
Just a little bit.
but just a little bit. But I remember him being in high school, and he played both basketball and football. Right now, I like to think I know my son. I know when he's hurting. I know when he. And I said, Ty, I said, you walk around here limping. He said, no, 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 no. I'm good, Mom. I'm good. I'm good. I said, okay. So, I left him alone. I never coddled, my sons, or I don't like to think that I coddled them. I let them, be who they were. But I know when they in pain. So I watched him for a few days. He's walking around and he's limping. And I said, okay, he's not going to say nothing to me because that wasn't the type of person he is. He's not going to complain about nothing. Something's going on. He going to try to figure it out. One day I walked in his bedroom and he said, Ma, I think I need to go to the doctor. Now, for Ty to say he got to go to the doctor because he's in some kind of pain, he said, Ma, I think I broke my foot. I said, you think you broke your foot? I said, well, baby, I said, when you think this happened? You said, maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take him to the hospital, but ain't no way he walking around with a broken foot. He done played football games. He done been to every basketball practice. He did not miss anything, right? Get him to the doctors, get him to the emergency room, and the nurse comes in and says, okay. And I said, broken. They said, well, how long? When did you break it? They're thinking I'm going to say yesterday. I said, well, he said 2 weeks ago. Everybody's looking like, yeah, okay, whatever. He ain't break his foot 2 weeks ago. Doctor literally comes in and says that. Oh, I don't think it's broken. He might have sprained it. I think he probably sprained it, but I highly doubt he's been doing all that you said he's doing on a broken foot. Sent him for the x-ray. They came back. The woman comes in there. She said, whatever you got, I want to put it in a bottle because I could sell it and make millions. She said, you've been walking around with a broken heel for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Broke the heel bone, the plate in his heel in 2 places.
Three. It was three.
Three places, right? It was 3. It was 2 going down this way and then 1 across the bottom. In 3 places.
That's painful.
He's been walking around, and I noticed. I said, I knew something was wrong with you. I said, are you kidding me? He would go, long as he went to school and he went to practice, that's all that mattered. When he came home, he was going to bed. That's unusual for him.
Yep.
Be tired. But that was how passionate he was. And he was scared to say something because he didn't want them to put him in a cast and take him out and be on the sidelines. 2 weeks. This brother right here walked around with a broken heel in 3 places.
So how was he out?
So let me clarify a couple of things. I want to say it was definitely longer than 2 weeks because I remember playing. Yeah, it was longer than 2. I know it was longer than 2 weeks because I remember when this was around the time where we would gradually be going back to Newburgh sometimes, at grandma's house on Fullerton. We would go across the street at NFA. Me and Kai Wave, we'd be playing. Then like you said, back home at Albany, I was on the AAU team. And I was in football throughout, all of my. So I would be walking around and I would be actually playing football almost on my toes. I would be running, that foot would be on my toe because it was so much pain putting the heel down when I'm running. And yeah, it was broken 3 places. I didn't want to tell nobody because I didn't want to be out of sports. And I knew ultimately they would put me in a cast. I'm like, all right, every day, like you said, it's school, football, basketball, come home, I soak it, I go to bed. I'm a introvert for the most part, so I was never out too much other than that. Who is it? Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's all right. That's what edit is for.
We know we family. That's exactly what I used to do.
Because you were the same way. You were definitely the same way. You did not want to be taken off of that field for nothing.
No.
And it's funny because thinking back to your days when you played, when you were younger, you was very, you've always been very mellow, very laid back, didn't want to, but it was like you transformed when you got on the field. It was like you transformed into somebody else. I used to think, I said, oh my God, when mommy first signed you up for AI, and for those who don't know, yes, Hyfa, we both said mommy. Hyfa is my younger brother. I used to say little, but I can't say little no more because he's definitely bigger than me. So, I give respect due, So, but he's
still your baby.
He's my younger brother, and he was my baby. Listen. My baby right there. If I could have said he was my first son, I would have took him from mommy and said, this is my first son. But this is my first son right here. And this is, but I remember, so for both of you, and whether it runs in the family or not, I know it's definitely in both of your blood. Tell me, Ty, how it shaped you. What's your first memory of sports and it being impactful in your life? What's the first memory you have of of having that type of passion and dedication for sports?
Well, my first introduction to sports was from Hyfa. Uncle Daniel is what I call him, but y'all know him as Hyfa. So, but
Absolutely.
yeah, Uncle Daniel, I remember watching. I remember being so invested in his Pace days. I remember when he went to Pace University,
Yes,
and
sir.
I mean, even now, just this past Thanksgiving, I was still asking him questions about Pace days, and he a little older, that's been a minute ago. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like trying to think of the answers. He like, you asking me the yardage, and if he could, I would want him to tell me every play, play from play, what happened here. So I remember that was my first like just real deep dive into sports. But my first like my first memory of sports was actually being afraid on the football field. Middletown. Remember when we lived in Middletown, Mom? The Middletown Bears. That was our team, the Middletown
Definitely
Bears.
remember that.
There was a dude on our team. We called him Pop Pop. A big dude. He was big. He's bigger than the rest of us. The dude was a beast. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I remember. Just being so timid on the football field, being scared to get hit, being scared to hit. So I didn't really play too much. And I always was trying to like figure out, the game of football then. Statistically wise and just like rule book wise, I knew football, but being out there is a whole different beast. And I was still trying to get a grasp of football. I was trying to get like, how could you hit somebody like that? And how could you not be afraid to get hit like that? And we actually went to the championship. I remember watching just Pop Pop. He just was, just a beast on the field. And I just always like, I'm gonna be that one day. One day I'm gonna get there. That was my first memory of football, is just being scared to be on the field, honestly. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Haifa, we grew up in Newburgh, New York, and some call that the sixth borough. Uh, you talked about sports being, younger. You was out on the field. You definitely transform into someone different when you were on the field. It was like you morphed into somebody else. You put them pads on, and you was passionate about it. Fast forward a little bit, starting to get older and being able to have the streets more accessible to you. I know, we suffered some traumas, and we gonna talk about that in a minute. Aside from losing our brother, how did the environment of just being in Newburgh, how did that shape you? Like, what was your reality? Because everyone's reality is different, regardless of whether you grow up there or not.
Yeah.
It could be five people and they all give you different perceptions of what their environment was like. What was it like for you, and how do you think it got you to where you are now?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. Like Newburgh is a rough place. You know what I mean? A rough place to grow up in. Um, me always being, I always had, when I was young, I was timid. You know what I'm saying? And of course, uh, before losing our older brother,
Mm.
and before our other brother went away,
Yeah.
I had them. It was like I had everybody there. So Newburgh, it was like it was like a I felt like a gentle child living in a rough place. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So I definitely like Nate and Emmanuel was not they I knew how to fight my whole life. Like I don't
Mm.
remember not knowing how to throw a punch. Emmanuel, I'll never forget. He used to have me out on the block with boxing gloves when I was like 6.
Yeah.
Me and my boy Stanley. Stanley probably don't even remember, but we was boxing right in
Yeah.
front of the laundromat. I
I
was like
remember.
6 years old.
Yeah.
So I always knew how to use my hands just by default. Um, and when they was around, it was like I don't know. I didn't think about like I feared my brothers more than anybody else out on the street. So I knew how to fight before I even knew what adrenaline was and how adrenaline felt. So Newburgh shaped me. It shaped my it kind of shaped my boldness because as I got older, I started understanding I started understanding the concept of fear more. You know what I'm saying? And what it means. I think I told you before, Aseelah, like when I was younger, I used to like I used to be ashamed of being afraid. You know what I'm saying? I thought that I wasn't supposed to be afraid of nothing because I thought Nate and Emmanuel wasn't afraid of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I didn't know that they actually felt fear. I just knew that anybody come up to them and disrespect or anything like that, they not afraid to fight. They gonna fight. So when I felt fear, I would feel like I failed already. So I couldn't even sometimes I couldn't even get like before when I didn't have Nate and Emmanuel there to make me fight or something like for me to make myself fight, I had to learn how to do that because as soon as I felt like I was afraid, I
Your
felt like
fight
I
or flight
failed.
kicked in, and so you felt
Yeah,
like flight.
but I felt like I felt like even being afraid was me running before
Mm-hmm.
even you know what I'm saying. I felt like being afraid was me running.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I didn't understand. Nah, yo, it's okay to be afraid.
You're
Yeah.
Now
supposed
you
to
just
be.
gotta, yeah, you supposed to be. That's a law's protection.
Right.
So now you use that to fight, and that was, so yeah, that's how Newberg just definitely shaped my toughness. Getting on the field, getting on the football field. You know what? Like, and I told David this.
Little David.
David is our yeah, little
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
He actually, I started playing football because I seen him and his pads coming home from football practice, and I was like, "Oh, that look cool. I want to play." And that's how I started playing. And when I started playing,
Wow.
but I was always playing two-hand touch football all my life.
I know.
Whether it was in Newburgh, yeah, whether it was in Newburgh or in Buffalo, definitely in Buffalo. We used to play. It was like the whole block would watch the kids play two-hand touch football in Newburgh. I mean, in
In
Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do remember that. I remember it, everybody, because it was a one way talking about in the little field across the street from MB house and the big
Yeah.
field there.
Well, we used to play in the middle of the street. Like we played
Yeah.
two-hand touch in the middle of the street. If a car came, we go to the
Everybody
side,
just
and then
go
we
to the
come
side. Yeah.
right. And then Aunt
Yeah.
Sandy and Uncle Chuck would be in the window watching. It was like the audience. And if I caught an interception, I remember one time I caught an interception and ran a touchdown. I just heard them like, "Go, Daniel, go, go!" So that right there, like you know what I
That's
mean?
dope.
Yep.
That's dope.
So
I love that.
yeah.
Ty, so
Hold on 1 minute. I gotta
okay.
open the blinds.
Yeah, you're fine. So Ty, we gonna fast forward for you also. Like, I know that, we know now that, sports was a big part of your growing up. You love,
Mm-hmm.
love the sports. For you, it was like a rite of passage. Uncle Daniel was passing it down for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to we're gonna fast forward a bit, and then we're gonna go back and rewind a little bit. But I want you to fast forward to your most recent injury, which has been your most impactful one.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about that because I want to start really getting into, the we as Black people, everyone thinks we're resilient, like, and we are resilient to a certain extent, but part of this mission for me is giving people the space to say, you know what, this hurt. This is something I have to heal from, and not just physically,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy to say, okay, yeah, I went to the doctor, I had a surgery, they gave me 6 weeks to heal, I healed, I got over it. But we as people, we have a lot that we want to not just want to, we have to mentally heal from. We have to spiritually heal from. And sometimes it'll come from something physical that happened to us that put us in that space. But sometimes it comes from places that we can't even put our finger on it where it came from. We can't even identify it. It's hard to identify. You just know that it's something that's going on with you. But because sports was so significant for you, and this most recent injury that happened to you, do you mind explaining what happened with this last one here?
Yeah, so I was just playing pickup at a local what was it? LA Fitness, I think. No, it wasn't LA Fitness. It was
Well, don't say no names. I'm gonna bleep it out because I don't want nobody to say, "Oh my God, don't go there, don't go to bleep, 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 bleep." We suing now, so we gonna bleep that part out. Okay. So you was at a gym.
I was at a gym. I was playing just regular pickup. And it's funny because I hadn't played sports for a little minute. I just moved down to Texas. Dealing with, kids, financials, job
Life was
seeking,
life.
just life, right. So I hadn't played sports for a little minute. And I mean, like you said multiple times, that's just has always been my peace, my therapeutic moments where I just, I can go pick up a basketball and just be shooting it, and I'm just, peaceful. I'm right. I'm home. I feel so I was like, dang, you know what? I need to just go hoop. I got up, I paid for a membership to this gym, went there, and a game in, I think it was only a game in, a couple plays in, I made a step, and when I stepped, I just completely lost all strength in my left like leg. I just fell. It's funny because when the injury happened, I blacked out. I don't even remember now. To this day, I can't even tell you what happened after the step. All I remember is being on the floor and my knee, it was dislocated. I'm laying on the ground and my knee is pointing upwards. Like it was bad.
What was the
Um,
ultimate diagnosis of it? What did you do?
I tore my um my MCL, um bruised. I had a grade 2 bruise on my femur, and yeah, I think that was it. My ACL and a grade 2 bruise on my femur.
Mm.
And the femur, if nobody knows, that's the biggest bone in your body. That's the bone in your leg. So uh,
That sounds real painful. What was going through your mind when, all right, so you blacked out then, and then you get to the hospital and they say surgery. You're not gonna get around surgery with this. What was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, you can ask Tay. I'm in the hospital with the air cast on my leg, and I'm asking the doctor, all right, so you said surgery, what you thinking in terms of a timeline for me to get back on the court? Because I'm trying to go tomorrow. Like, I'm trying to get back on the ask Tay. She like, Ty, stop. You're not getting on the court. I'm like, I'm getting on the court soon. I'm getting right back to it because I was just getting into the groove of things. I'm telling you, there's a couple plays in and I was a little rusty. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting back into it. I make a step and everything just boom, break down. So I'm ready to get back on the court. I'm like, check up. And it was, yeah, it was longer than what I thought. I'm still right now not able to get back onto the court
How long
successfully.
ago has it been?
It's been a year. Last year in April 17th was when I tore my MCL or ACL. I can't even remember which one it was. Was it ACL or MCL? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you told me
I'll back it.
ACL.
Huh?
I thought you told me the ACL.
It
I'm
might
not
it
sure
might have
though.
been
But the
ACL.
ACL is the outside, is the ligament on the outside. MCL is on the inside.
So it was the MCL then, because my knee was, like I said, I was laying on the ground this way and my knee was pointed up. He said it ripped straight through so it was my MCL. MCL's on the inside. Yep. That was my MCL. Yeah. Yep.
That's I sprained my MCL in high school,
Mm.
and that was painful. I know So yeah, tearing one of those is it's a lot, man.
Yep.
My bad. Life was life for a second. My bad.
Nah, you good.
So man, so I hear we're a year in and you still can't get on the court.
Still can't get on the court. They said a year to 2 years is when the timeline on getting back onto, playing full 5-on-5 basketball is a year to 2 years. So
What do
Yo,
you
reach. Oh
go ahead?
no, I was gonna say reach out to Khalil because he you know what I mean.
Strength
He
training.
had with strength training and stuff like that, and
mm,
he had to nurse his injury back when he got hit.
mm,
Um,
Yeah,
and he came back pretty fast. So I would reach out to him and see what exercises he did to get
mm.
back as fast as he did. That might help.
yeah.
Um,
What do you think that did for you mentally?
Oh
Being
man.
being as active as you are and having to sit down, like I know you were on crutches for a while, they had you on prescription medication for a while. What did that do to you?
It's for my entire mental. It was so I've never had an injury that severe. When I was in high school, what did I do? Sprain my one of them ligaments, but
Yeah,
it wasn't as bad as this
nowhere
one. It wasn't
near.
a complete tear, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't need surgery. I just needed to rehab back from it. But oh man, so April is when I tore it. I had my surgery in June.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on I was on I couldn't even like get off the couch. Like to get off the couch, I needed, help to get off the couch. After my surgery, I've never been the type to like medicine and prescription drugs and stuff like that. So I wasn't even taking the painkillers that they was telling me to take. I literally every day my leg is hurting, it's killing me. And one day I remember Ariana coming into the room. I think you was on the phone or I had called you later on that day or whatever. And I was telling y'all that I wasn't taking it as frequently as I should have. And y'all was like, what? They told you you're supposed to be taking the painkillers because you can't take the pain. When I tell you I was laying in that bed, like just wallowing,
yeah,
man. It was
Literally crying in the bed.
crying, literally, because
Like
I'm like, the
yeah.
pain is too much. But I didn't think that because what was it, every 6 or every 8 hours I was supposed to take it?
so
I
you were
wasn't.
supposed to be alternating taking the pain reliever plus the Tylenol. So
No, no, the aspirin, because the aspirin was for the blood.
right, the aspirin for
Yeah, for the
the,
blood clot.
the blood clot.
Blood thinner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this guy laying there not taking anything,
Oh yeah, you gotta.
you
And
know.
I know how you feel about this. I don't like pills either.
No,
But man,
you
when
don't.
it's like that, you gotta take it. It's
Yeah.
still, if you got natural remedies too, do that. But you gotta
Uh,
take that, man. That
yeah.
pain.
I ain't know, but I know now.
Yeah, man. Especially in there with the blood clots. Yeah, you gotta take that Tylenol to
Yeah,
or the aspirin to
Aspirin.
yeah,
thin your blood out. Cause
yeah. Red blood
Tommy
clots.
Tommy from that played on Martin, that's how he passed. He had a
Yeah.
blood clot that came from he had knee surgery
Hey,
and he had a blood
Oh
clot.
wow,
yep.
Yeah,
And came
yeah.
from and
wow.
killed him.
I
And
did not know
so
that.
Mhm.
speaking of not liking to take pills, Haifa, um, I want to dive a little deeper and give you a chance to really speak to people about illness, mental health for us as Black men. When you were receiving your first degree, or you were in college for your first degree, in Pace University, you were falsely diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Mhm.
And I remember them prescribing you the pills for bipolar, and you didn't like it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
you stopped taking it.
yeah.
And not the way you're supposed to, because they say it's protocol for you to stop taking it, but you didn't like taking it.
Mhm.
What was that like? Them telling you that there was a title for something that you were going through. There was an actual name for what was going on in your mind, what was going on with you. What were you thinking when they told you that?
Well, what it was so that okay. So when I was from 19 to 21, that's when I was like ultimately battling like um the diagnosis. So when I was 19, first they diagnosed me with clinical depression.
Okay.
So I was in a psychiatric hospital, and that was the first time they put me on a whole bunch of pills when I was in the hospital. I didn't even know what I was taking. I
Mm.
didn't like that. I didn't like it, and I still didn't understand what clinical depression was. You know what I mean? I remember seeing the commercials and stuff with chemical imbalance and stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
was still like, it wasn't that I was in denial. It was just I couldn't understand something was wrong with me, but I'm not bleeding. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. So I'm like, so I was hard on myself. I'm like, yo, now you bugging. Like, you know,
Man
my
up, tough it up.
yeah, you know what I mean? And my help in that sense, because she had to, there was so many times where she had to like look me in my eye and be like, Daniel, there is something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's okay to take these pills right now.
Just because you
Just
couldn't
because you
see it, it wasn't no cast, it wasn't,
right,
something that was physical. You couldn't,
right.
it was hard to fit your mind
It was
around that.
right. It was hard. It was hard. And you know, coming from Newburgh and the environment we came up in, I'm sitting there like, man, nah, you got like you better figure this out and shake it off. Like, you know.
Let
So
me
that's
let me
how I
ask you,
was.
be honest, were you, while you were going through that, were you self-medicating? You know how we say
Um,
self-medicating? Were you, did you turn to anything
well,
else when you were going through it before they actually gave you the diagnosis?
nah, actually, that that helped me get into the like go into the diagnosis. Like when I had my first breakdown, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself because I had just this was my sophomore year. I was going into spring semester. So when I went into the spring semester, I was on academic probation because I had slipped in some of my classes. I was
Mm-hmm.
partying too much and stuff like that. So when I came back, I was like, yo, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
drinking, I ain't smoking, I'm getting straight A's, I'm not doing nothing. So I put a whole bunch of pressure on myself, and then there was other things that I was, you know, dealing with like sadness and stuff like that from like
Mm-hmm.
10 years prior to, you know, because I was 19. So, you know what happened 10 years prior to that. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all of that. I'm thinking like all of this stuff, and it built up and it caused me to mentally break.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got out of the psych ward, for one, they was gonna keep me longer than I was there for. I was there for a week the first time. The only
Mm-hmm.
reason why I got out is because I wanted to go back to school. Like I didn't want to take a break because I couldn't then I knew like I wouldn't be able to play football, and I was
Mm-hmm.
scared of not going back. So I was
Yeah.
like, nah, I gotta go back. And so I went back, but I wasn't good. And when I got out, I didn't even have, they just let me out. I didn't have a doctor. Like every time I ran out of my medication, I had to go back to Arden Hill and re-explain the whole situation so they could just give me a script. I didn't have a psychiatrist. I didn't know what a psychiatrist was. I didn't know what a psychologist, I didn't know nothing. I was just out there. So they did. So at that point, I had clinical depression. So what happened was, Ma was always giving me herbs to take with my medication. So I
Okay.
was doing that all semester. So by
Okay.
the time we got into summer, because in the middle of the semester, I stopped taking my medication because I was like, I don't want to be on this. So that's
Mm-hmm.
when that's the first time I stopped cold turkey. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember we came down to visit you in Atlanta. That's when you was living in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And at that during that time, I wasn't taking my medication, and Mom kept asking me, "Are you all right?" And I was telling her, "Yeah," but I wasn't. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went back, you know, I kind of relapsed and stuff like that. So I had to go get medication and get back on it. So by the
Now,
summer,
why didn't you want to? I didn't mean to cut you off, but what made you not want to take it? What was wrong with it? Was it just the fact that you had to take it, or was it making you feel a kind of way that you didn't want?
well, I never liked pills, and
Okay,
when it came to medication, I didn't want to become a zombie. You know what I'm
is
saying? Like I
that's what it
didn't
was
want
making
to.
you feel like? It was making you feel like zombie spy?
Yeah, but I've seen other people that were on
Mm.
medication become like zombies, and I was just like, yo, I don't want to. I do not. That was my fear. I'm like, I don't want to be dependent on this stuff for the rest of my life. And the norm of that of depression is you're going to be on this for the rest of your life. Like fast,
Mm.
like when I and that's like the psychology. So, well, let me go because I don't want to skip steps,
Yeah,
but and I'm gonna speed it up because it's a lot. But
nah, you
so
ain't got to speed nothing up.
you
This
know,
is what we here for. We want this.
okay, I appreciate y'all. So by that summer, I had worked myself off of the medication. So by the time I started playing football, my red shirt sophomore year, my
Mhm.
true junior year, I
Mhm.
wasn't taking the medication, but I was functioning. I was fine. I felt like, you know what I mean? So that whole semester though, that whole spring semester, I
Mhm.
wasn't drinking or smoking. I wasn't
Mhm.
doing nothing. I was just on it because I was messed up, you know what I'm saying? And then I was trying to get myself right to be because I still had spring football.
Mhm.
So I was still going to practice and then but that was I had to tell coach what I was going through and I almost got kicked off the team because I went to coach and I told him, could I take the spring off? Because I'm trying to figure this out and everything. And he was like, Daniel, I get it. I know you're trying to figure it out, and I'm gonna work with you, but
Mhm.
I can't. You gotta be in spring ball. You know what I'm saying with the
Mhm.
team because you're not gonna be able to be prepared for the season like that, and then and how I'm gonna give you the spring off and then just throw you right back in the mix. That's
Yeah.
not gonna be. You gotta go through. So he was like, I'll tell you what I said. He said we got practice tomorrow morning. Um, if I don't see you in practice, I'll know what your decision is. Basically, he had to. So next morning, right? Mind you, I'm in that year. I had a I had a single. Like the dorm setup was I had a single. Then
Mhm.
my roommate, one of my I was with my teammates. One of my teammates was an RA, so he had
Mhm.
a double to himself. I had a single, and my other teammate, Jeff, had a single. So I oversleep. I wake up and I'm like, I look at the clock. I'm like, oh, practice almost over. So I'm like, yo, I'm looking. I go to see if Jeff is there. Jeff left and went to practice. They didn't get me.
Nobody woke you up. Nobody said, "Hey, hi."
Nah, well, see, Ernesto, he had graduated. So, but he was, let's see, yeah, he had graduated like the fall semester was his last year playing. So he wasn't doing spring ball because this
Mm,
was his last semester of school.
Okay.
mm,
So he was done. So it was just Jeff. So I'm like, oh snap. So I get up, I throw my clothes on, and in my mind, I'm like, yo, it's over. Like practice over. I might as well just not go. But I was like, man, nah, forget it. I'm gonna just go anyway. And
Yeah.
Meandro, I'm still
So
depressed. I
bad.
still got this. I'm still feeling depressed and all of that. So the easy thing was to just like lay back down and be like, but
mhm,
I was like, nah, I know I'm gonna regret it. So I went to my locker. It was our first day of shoulder pads. So I went to my locker. My pads wasn't in my locker. It was just my helmet and my jersey. So I put my jersey on, put my helmet on. I ran up to the field. When I went up to the field, they was all sitting down. Coach was talking. It was the last part of practice.
mm,
So I'm like, I'm done. He's kicking me off the team. So I sat down. He closed out the practice. I went up to him and I was like, Coach, I'm sorry, I'm late. I didn't. He said, I'm glad you came. And then so I was like, thank you, Bob. Coach, my alarm went off. I didn't even know. I'm sorry. He was like, I'm glad you came. And he walked away. I thought he was gonna punish me. He's like, I'm glad. He was just glad to see me there. He thought
So
I wasn't going. That's why
yes.
my pass wasn't in the thing. He thought I quit.
Oh,
So I was like, yo. So then I went to Jeff. I'm like, yo, Jeff, why you? He's like, yo, I tried to wake you up. I thought you wasn't going. I was like, nah, I was just asleep. So so that happened. So long story short, I end up going into the season. I'm playing. So when I go into the season, I'm thinking I'm fine. I'm thinking I'm good. So I go back to doing what I was doing before, like drinking, smoking, up partying, the regular, because everybody on the football team was doing that. That was,
yeah.
you know what I mean. So, and I didn't do that in high school. I was introduced to that in college. So sophomore, so that year goes by. That's 2003, 2004. Now 2004, I was in the very good physical shape, but I was in a manic state mentally. That's the part where I was saying before, where this is where I learned, like, I I was talking a whole lot more in 2004, and I was more extroverted than introverted. You know what I'm saying? So I was more wild. I got into trouble in school. That's when I kicked in the window. I
Yeah.
had a bad night. I was drunk, got
Yeah.
locked out of a dorm, kicked in the window,
Yeah.
got arrested. All of that was in that spring semester. So, um, I'll get out of spring. I'll go through summer. I played football season. Like I was doing well
Wait,
individually.
wait. We not just gonna skate over the fact that you said, you kicked in the college window,
Oh yeah,
you wait,
man.
what happened? You said you was in a manic state, and I
Yeah,
really I want to talk about that for a second, because you know we we get labeled angry, we get labeled troublemaker,
yep,
savage. The music even has us calling ourselves savage.
yep,
So I want to pause for a second, and I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about what you was feeling. I know you said you was manic for a minute. Like,
yeah.
do you, what were you going through? Like, mentally, if you could put it into words right now. You said manic, but were you mad? Were you confused? Were you what other word can you use to make people understand that we're not just walking around just angry for no reason? What do
Yeah.
you feel like you was going through that was making you feel that way?
Um, well, like all my life, like I said, all my life I was always introverted. I was timid, you know what I'm saying? I was shy, you know what I mean? So in '04, I had, coming out of like me thinking that I done beat depression and stuff like that, and that it felt good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and I was so and I had gained another like sense of confidence. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So but I didn't realize at the time that I was acting out of my character, and I didn't realize at the time that I still had depression going on.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I
it
didn't.
was another stage of it.
It was another stage of it because I did not treat it correctly. I didn't work myself off of the like it was like I physically worked myself off of the medication, but I didn't mentally work myself off of the medication because
And
I
let me
had
just
never
clarify, at this time, you still hadn't talked with a psychiatrist, a psychologist, none of that. They still hadn't given
nah
you anybody
I
to really talk to at this point.
nah nope if I'm remembering correctly if I'm remembering correctly well no I did talk to a psychiatrist by
Okay.
this time.
Okay.
So my 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 sophomore year when I came back from Atlanta and I had that breakdown,
Mm,
I think that's the first time, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that's the first time Ma was told about the Center for Stress Reduction.
mm,
So that was an outpatient
program that they.
That was an outpatient mental facility that I could go, because that was the thing when I went when she first took me to the psychiatric hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to stay there, but they couldn't let me go because of
Yeah,
the state that I was in. I was in a catastrophic state
yeah.
because I was so paranoid and I was tense and I was thinking I thought that the doctors were assassins and they was going. I
Mm,
thought they thought that I was trying to hurt my mother, so I thought they was trying to separate me from her so they could take me out. Like it was crazy. It was like
yeah.
the whole time she driving to the hospital, I'm thinking helicopters is tracking us and they got snipers on me. If I make a sudden move, I'm dead. All of
And
that.
let's
Like,
just be clear. This wasn't, because people will say, oh, well, he said he was using drugs. Let's be clear. This
nah,
wasn't a drug induced paranoia. This was
nah.
something that you were battling mentally.
Yeah. Bad and like and looking back on it in hindsight, I had been battling. I had been really this has been with me since I was little, probably since 9.
Yeah,
Because Ma said that she would see it in me throughout junior high school and high school.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? She saw it, but I didn't know what it was, so it was growing.
yeah.
So in '04, when I say manic, I mean I was more like hyper and more reckless and you know what I mean?
More
I was more
conversation.
wild. Yeah, I was more, I wasn't starting trouble, but I wasn't like I wouldn't uh back down. I wouldn't try to diffuse
Diffuse the
the
situation. Yeah. Okay.
situation. You know what I mean? So that night when I kicked the window in, I'm drunk, I'm high. Um, so I remember I was with my some of my teammates. We was going up to the townhouses. So the football team always had a townhouse. So and it was always upperclassmen. So I'm with them and so they going to walk to the townhouse and I'm with one of the teammates, more boy Tom. He was he was with me and he said I just stopped and I was like talking to myself. So he thought I was freestyling because they all knew I rapped.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, come on!" And I was just sitting there talking to myself. So he was like, "All right, man, I'm gonna just leave the door open. You come in when you're ready." And my coach was mad at him for that. He was like, "Why'd you leave him?" Like, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
he left me, and I don't remember none of this. So I ended up walking down the hill to another dorm. Mind you, Paces split up into two campuses. Briarcliff campus, which is, it's nothing but dorms over there, and
Yeah,
that's where we practice at and all that. And then
yeah.
Pleasantville campus got the townhouses and two other dorm buildings, but then
Mm,
that's where you go to do your classes and stuff. So I
mm,
stayed in Briarcliff, but I was over on this campus. So um, I'll go down the hill. I end up in front of North Hall, which is the first dorm that you hit when you come into onto the campus. And somehow I got inside, and it's February, so it's cold. So I got a big coat on, but underneath the coat, I just got a thin shirt on. So it's cold. Somehow I get inside. I'm in the lobby, and I don't remember this. I don't really remember this. Like I don't
this is
remember.
all they were telling you what happened.
Nah, well, I remember like bits of this. Like I know I
Okay.
got inside. I just don't know. I don't remember how I got inside. I don't
Okay.
remember why I went inside. I just
Okay.
was in there, and I put my coat down in the lobby, and then I end up back outside. Why I went back
Mm,
outside, I don't know. So I'm outside, so I locked myself out of the dorm, and it's cold. So I'm like, oh snap! So I go to the security booth, right? The security booth. Me and the security arguing. I don't know because and it's to their defense, I know they dealt with a lot of BS from us, like
yeah.
drunk kids and all that. So my energy probably wasn't good when I went up to him, but I went up to him because I was trying to get in the building. So I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? My coat is in the dorm. I just need you to let me in there so I can get my coat. Da-da-da. So he like, nah, like he arguing with me. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yo, man, you like, what's wrong with you, son? Like, so I'm probably cursing at him too and all that. I
Yeah.
can't really remember. So I go back to the dorm, and I just remember thinking, man, the only thing stopping me from getting in here is this glass. You know what I mean? And it was wire reinforced. So I don't remember actually kicking the window in, but I remember thinking about kicking it in. And then I
But you
woke up.
ultimately kicked it in. You did kick it in.
Yeah, I kicked it in. I opened the door. I went and I laid down in the lobby underneath my coat in the same building. So one of my boys, he actually saw me sleeping in the lobby, and he saw the busted window. He saw my leg leaking. He was like, he was kicking me, and he was like, "Yo, you gotta get out of here!" And I was asleep. Like he could not wake me up. And I was like, he told me this afterwards. I don't remember that. I remember getting woken up by a cop, by a police officer saying, yo, you gotta come with us. And I'm like, nah, I got practice later on. He's like, you're not going to practice today,
Not going
buddy.
to practice today.
Yeah. And my leg was cut off. I had to get staples. I had to get 6 staples in my leg and stitches. They arrested me. They charged me with a class E felony. Um, and then the school. Ultimately, I was going to court for the rest of the semester. I almost got kicked out of school, but the school threw the book at me. They made an example out of me because the football team was always getting in trouble. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, they threw the book at me, and Ma had to go up there because at first I didn't tell Ma. So they had kicked me off campus, knowing that I didn't stay in walking distance. So they kicked me off campus. They had they took my spring break trip away. That was probably a blessing because if I would have went to Jamaica that year, I probably would have got arrested.
Mm.
Um, and my teammates was telling me that it was like, yo, if you would have went out there, you definitely would have got arrested. But
Oh,
just the way
yeah.
I was at the time, you know what I mean? And so they did that. Um, and when I coach actually called Ma and told he thought she knew. So when he called her and told her, she was like, "What? No, I didn't know." He was like, "I thought you knew." So Ma called me, and that's when she found out, and I was like, "Yeah." So she came down, and when she came down to the school, the school started like giving me more respect because before she came down, they was just treating me like I was a kid out of the ghetto with nobody behind me. And they
Yes,
was
sir.
like, and they even told Ma, like, I remember the dean told Ma, she was like, I seen the tape and he was so, his manner was so violent on the tape. And Ma stopped him and she was like, did my son hurt anybody? Did he kick a person? No, she was like,
Property.
no, he destroyed property. Violence is when you inflict pain on another human
Mm.
being. So don't put
Let
no
me stop
violent
here.
label
Let
on
me
my
stop
son.
here.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to interrupt you, but let me tell you
No,
something. For those of you who don't know our mother,
she don't play that.
know that this woman has gone to bat for this family. Know that this woman is this for our family.
Word.
Keep us together. She the glue in this family. Sometimes we don't want to hear it. Sometimes we might be like, oh my God, don't let her know because she's going to go off or she's going to do this. But let me tell you something. Talking about having an advocate in your corner, there's nobody else on earth I would
Mm-hmm.
want to have in my corner than that woman, soon to be Dr. Janana Amatilla.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody like her on this earth.
Nope.
You hear me? And when it comes to making sure that we are advocated for, I'm talking about since the start of school, and this is where we get it from as adults, now
Mm-hmm.
parents and our own children. You have to, number one, know that and let your children know you got a village around you. You're not in school. You might go to school by yourself, get on that bus and go to school by yourself, but trust and believe me, you're not there by yourself.
Yep.
That woman is the example of that. That woman is the example of advocacy for her children, for her grandchildren. She showed up. There's nobody intimidating her in the
Nope.
least bit. And she
Nope.
instilled that in us to know that we have voices
Yep.
and we better speak up with those voices. And if there's ever a time that we can't speak up, it's okay because she gonna be
Facts.
there to speak up for us.
Facts. And that's exactly what she did. Like
So
she,
I
yeah.
had to say that. So go ahead,
Nah,
continue.
you right. Nah, you absolutely right. That's exactly what she did. So she, when she came, I still got punished and everything, but it was more like she made them really look at me and see who I was.
See you as a
Because
person.
right, because before that time, I'm gonna tell you, the dean didn't know me.
Mm,
The head of sports at that time, and I don't want to say their names and stuff like that. I'm gonna respect that,
yeah.
but he didn't really know me. He didn't know me. He saw me. He saw me. They saw me around. He didn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
That forced them to get to know me, and when they got to know me, they realized, oh, he's not a bad kid, and he's a like the dean saw me play that year, and Ma had happened to be sitting next to him, and he was like, man, he's really good. Like she was like, yeah, you don't even, you know
You
what I
didn't
mean?
know who you were
So
dealing with.
yeah, I
And
mean,
so many
so
times we get that. They blanket us under this, just like I said, they label us angry without getting to know the person. And this is one of the aspects of the what I do, going in and speaking to corporate America about people. People are the biggest commodity right now, and they're hiring people, and they're hiring people under the DEI and the and this program and that program, but they still label us all, and they still
word,
have us as, oh, they're angry or they're ghetto acting, and yeah, we let the black guy in here, and look, this is what
yeah,
happened, without getting to know that person, without getting to know what's really going on with them, and realizing, hey, wow, wait a minute, this is actually a really good guy. This woman
right,
right here is actually so intelligent. She brings so much value to us. She's just got a little bit of this going on at home that if she had the right type of help that we think shows a sign of weakness, if we tell what's going on in house, it we tell what's going on in our minds,
mm-hmm.
they see it as weakness. They programmed us to think that's weak. What you talking about? You need help. You mental
Word,
help. You better get up and go to class. You better get up and go to work. What you mean?
yeah, ah,
They have
it's
us
crazy,
programmed to think that.
yeah,
And here you are, a prime example of it. I love that you shared that. Thank you for the
yeah,
candidness of that.
nah, definitely. They made an example of it. They was showing that. They was showing the. I found out they were showing the video of me kicking the window in to freshmen coming in. To say like as an example of what not to do.
What?
They was like, yeah, they was like, yo, I heard that. I ain't even see the video. I never even seen it. And I'm like, yo,
Wow.
they really did that. And then but I made it through that, you know what I'm saying? I made it through that. They suspended me. I couldn't play in the spring game, but I could practice. I was going to I was suspended from the campus. So, but what I was doing was I was just staying in the townhouses. It was like I was a fugitive. So I had to stay in the townhouse and just lay low, just go to class and then go back. I was like in a hoodie, just you know what I'm saying, just going.
So
And
you were kicked off of campus, but you could still attend your classes.
yeah, I could only go to classes, but I couldn't live on campus. Like I couldn't go back to my dorm for the rest of the semester. I was living in the townhouses under the radar, just because that was the only way I could get back and forth to class. I had class every day and I had practice every day. So I was just staying in there. Coach knew that, but he kind of like kept it under law. He was like, he didn't even say it. He was like, you know, I know you do what you gotta do, but just be careful and everything. That's how I did. So and then they ended up dropping it court wise. They dropped it to a misdemeanor, and then because my court I had a legal aid, so all semester my date kept getting adjourned because of legal aid. I saw him the first day and didn't see him again. So one of the judges cared about what I was going through. The other judge didn't. So it was two judges
Mm.
alternating. So the judge, the end of the semester, he was like, I'm gonna drop it to a violation. If you get in trouble again within the next 6 months, I'm bringing all the charges back and you're going to deal with it. If
Well,
not, then it goes away. So that's why I was able to not have a record, not have a felony on my or misdemeanor on my record. So and I lucked out. I'm like, man, well, not lucked out, but it was, I was blessed.
Blessing. Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah. And then
Blessing.
so fast forward because I'm well,
It's
talking too much.
okay. Ty,
So
you mind? You good?
No, no, go
my
ahead.
fault.
Neither of
So
us
I'm
mind.
and the reason why I'm going through this whole thing is because I'm getting to the point where I was misdiagnosed.
Okay.
So all this time I hadn't been diagnosed with bipolar yet. So after the season in '04, because I got through spring and everything, went through the summer and everything, and I was in good shape. So I go into '04. We had the worst record of my whole time, but it wasn't because of individually. It was just we
As
just
a
didn't have
whole.
a good season. Yeah, but I was in the best shape, and I didn't get the ball as much as I should have. I humbly say that, but other people say that. But whatever. So we got through the season. The at the end of the at the end of the full semester, I end up relapsing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
What
the
do you
way
mean
it
by
came.
relapsing? What happened?
So at the end of the semester, mind you, like I wasn't and I didn't go back to smoking weed at this time, but I was, drinking. We couldn't none of the football team could smoke because we was getting tested.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't on that, but I was, I was still drinking and stuff like that. And um at the end of the semester, I just started putting pressure on myself again, like with my school, like work, and certain sadness started coming back. It just came back. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And at that moment, I realized that whole time when I was in that manic state, when I had the sense of confidence and stuff like that, that whole time, I think I was fighting. I was still fighting depression, and I just did not want it to come back. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like overly exerting myself because I was saying, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Nah, I'm good. Like you know what I'm saying? I was, and so that even football wise, I was going hard. I'm like, no, I'm good. So I was a beast. Like I was, you know what I mean, just going at everything hard. And ultimately, it still came back. You know what I mean? By the end of the semester, it came back. I'm like, and I was in denial. I'm like, yo, this can't be happening. And it did. Like, Ma came to pick me up from. I remember I had a biology like project, and my roommate was helping me do it. Him and his girlfriend helped me do it, and they helped me get through the hard part of it. And they was like, "You good? Now all you gotta do is write this up. You good?" So I couldn't believe it. I was like, and I was still panicking. I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get this done though. And they was like, "Damn, it's done. All you gotta do is write the summary of it." And I couldn't write the summary of it. Like I couldn't, my mind was so gone, I couldn't write the summary of it. So that's
Wow.
why I was still panicking. So I ended up, so when Ma came to pick me up, I'm panicking because I didn't hand this thing in. So I'm gonna get an F in this. I'm gonna get an F. I'm not telling Ma this though. So when Ma come to get me, she thinking my bags is packed just for the winter break. Man, Ma came in the room. My room was a mess because I'm sitting there stuck between, yo, I'm probably not coming back. They're gonna kick me out of school. Mind you, somebody gave me this is the paranoia coming back. Somebody had gave me a car radio. You know what I'm saying? This is when I had the car. Remember that summer I crashed my car too.
Right.
So that was the
Yeah.
second car crash. I
Yeah.
fell asleep behind the wheel, crashed the
Yeah.
car. So I still had this stereo. I threw the stereo out because I'm like, oh, they're probably tracking the stereo. It's probably the serial number is probably scratched off. Let me get rid of this. I throw that out. Mom come in, everything is all over the place. She like, Daniel, what? I was like, I've been trying to pack all day, but so it was just a mess. So long story short, when I went home, when I went home that break, I ended up going back into the psychiatric hospital because
Mm.
it was the same thing. Like she brought me there at Arden Hill, the same. She brought me there, and I was like, I don't want to stay there. I just want to be an outpatient. I want to get just get my medication, and just get to be able to get my medication and leave. I don't want to still be on. And now I'm thinking I think this might have been the first time I went to the Center for Stress Reduction. I can't remember.
Mm.
But so I went and once again they was like we can't let him go. Like he's not in a good he's not in a good state.
Yeah.
So I had to stay there. That time I stayed there for 4 days. And once again, I was like, "Oh, I got to get out of here," because that stay was, it was like I was in there with some crazies. Like they looked like they came straight from prison in there. Like
Mm.
it felt like I was in jail. And I remember you came to visit me that time, and even you was looking around like, "Yo," you
Yeah, I
know what
got
I'm
my
saying?
little brother in this place, and
Yeah.
I told
So
mommy we got to get him out of here.
yeah. So I got out and I went to the Center for Stress. And I think I was already familiar with this part because that's the thing. Oh, 04, I stopped going because I was off the medication. I stopped going to the psychiatrist and all that. So when I went back this time, I was reuniting with him, and he was like, and I'm talking, and he was like, trying to think. Yeah, I'm talking to him, and he's like, so by that time, Uncle Kadir had passed.
Mm.
The first time I had talked to him, only I told him about Nate passing because Uncle Kadir was still here. So it's kind of like we was getting reacquainted, and I was telling him everything I was going through that year. I said
Yeah.
my uncle passed, this, that, and the third. So from what I was telling him, it was he it seemed like I was in a manic state because of
Mm.
what I was telling him. So I understood why he was like, you might be bipolar because it was like night and day. So when I told him all this, he was that's where that diagnosis came from. So he put me on certain medication, right? And mind you, I'm in spring ball again. So this medication is giving me headaches all up here. Like one of the medications was giving me bad frontal lobe headaches. I think there's frontal lobe headaches. So one of my coaches was like, I told him, he was like, "What's the psychiatrist's name?" So I told him, he was like, "Yeah, you should call him." So I called him and I told him what was going on. And the
Mm.
psychiatrist was like, "Oh Lord, yeah." He said, "Stop taking it. Don't take it no more." You know what I mean? So I went back to being on Lexapro and Celexa, and then um, eventually I worked myself off the medication again by the summer of 2005. And I never went back to it. So that was that false bipolar diagnosis. And it was all because like psychiatrists, they use medicine to deal with the behavior, but it's like they they not inside of you. You know, they not pause. They not inside of your mind. So they just going off of they just going off of what they can go off of. So he's going off of what I'm telling him. And I'm telling him everything to the best of my ability to explain it. So in his mind, he's like, yeah, he's manic. And it's night and day from before. So he just give me this, you know what I mean, this medication.
Medication. Just, yeah, take
Right.
this, please, because
So,
you got a
right.
lot going on.
But he asked me, he said, what's, he asked me what my goals were. And I told him, I want to work myself off medication. And he said, okay. He said, that's a stretch. He basically was saying he don't see that happening. But that's, he respected it. But I
Mm.
was dead serious. I'm like, I'm not taking this stuff. And then so I started talking to a psychologist in the Center for Stress Reduction. So I
Mm.
was working with a psychiatrist and a psychologist. The reason
Okay.
why I was talking to psychologists because I wanted to learn how to change my behavior thinking so that I don't need the medication to change it.
For
So
those who
that's what
don't
it
know,
was.
what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist when you're a patient? When you're going in, what's the difference? What do they do?
Psychiatrists deal with medication. So they sit and they talk to you, and at the end of your session, they're going to prescribe you like what I was prescribed. I he would give me my script every session. You know what I'm saying? So I talk to him, and then he give me my script for my medication.
Okay.
Psychologist, I would go in there and I would talk. We'd have a conversation. He'd write his notes down, and then he'd give me his feedback on, how to deal with things and this, that, and the third. And then that'd be that. They don't use medication. They
Oh,
talk to you and they work with your behavioral habits,
okay.
your mental behavioral habits, and that's how they work with you. So psychologists,
Wow.
they don't deal with medication. Psychiatrists, they deal with medication.
Okay. Ty, unmute yourself when you walked away. I muted your mic. Unmute yourself for me.
Am I
There you
muted?
go. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. You're good. Okay.
Okay.
So, hearing everything that Hypa said he went through in the past,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, touch on what you're going through currently. For him, this is years ago. He's been able to sit back, assess what was going on with him. But for you, in a sense, right now, you're kind of right in the middle of your storm right now. You're in the middle of your mental storm. You're coming off of having this traumatic injury for you that changed the trajectory of everything that you were trying to do. It sat you down for over a year. You're still in a space where someone who's very active, an active father, you have a preteen, a teenager, a preteen, right? And you were active in sports with him, and you had all these goals ahead of you, and then life hits you, and then now not only are you recovering from the physical, but you've been experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm kind of just wherever you're ready to jump in. You're in the middle of your storm now.
Mm-hmm.
How is hearing what he been through? How are you able to relate to what he's saying? And give us a little bit of how you feel like you got to hear right now. Because you had a physical injury where Hyper said he didn't have nothing that was physical that he could tangibly say, this is what happened to me. And then this was the spinoff of something that happened. You, on the other hand, you had a physical injury. And now, do you feel like this is your first time in your life experiencing the mental heaviness, the mental burden that you're going through now? Do you feel like it stemmed from the injury, or do you feel like this is something that was brewing? Like Haifa said, for him, he felt like this was something that was brewing in him from like 9, and it just reared its ugly head all at once for him in that period of time. Do you feel like, give us
Yeah,
an
no,
insight of what you're experiencing?
I definitely feel like, and for anybody who's at that point where they can open their eyes up to what's actually going on to them, think back to, into your past, because I really do think that a lot of stuff comes with, piling up,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like you say, you're just dealing with it. This is happening, oh, deal with it, go back to school. This is happening, oh, deal with it, go back to work.
Yeah.
I've always been dealing with stuff on my own, not talking about it. And I talk to you, and I talk to, Pops a lot, about the relief of crying. I don't do that. I don't talk to people because I don't like talking about my emotions. That's so just over the years of things like just life. I had a child early. My first child was born when I was 20. Um, and I still had dreams, ambitions, and stuff, that I wanted for myself. And I never wanted to stop that, so I was always trying to juggle life, my own goals and ambitions. Relationship and things. I haven't, you like to mess with me and tell me I haven't been, single since I was, what, 17. You need to take time to yourself. So I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, um, and honestly, quietly, secretly to myself. I've kept a lot of things to myself. Um, and that was not necessarily the right way to do it, in my opinion. And this is the first person speaking. Always reach out and definitely uh get the help. That's what I'm doing. I can honestly say right now, you like you said, I'm in the middle of my storm. I'm just now get in the grasp of getting that help. You know, I'm going to a psychiatrist right now, and thank you, Uncle Daniel, because I didn't know the difference between the psychiatrist and the psychologist. So I'm glad you asked him that, because I was going to ask that same question.
I got
So I'm dealing with, you know, him. I actually got an appointment on Monday. Um, I don't know. Should I be? Well, you said talk candidate, so I'm a talk candidate. I'm not too happy with how this medicine is reacting with me. I'm finding myself being a lot angrier lately. I'm finding myself not being able to things happen, situations happen, and I can't think about them, you know, and articulate them with my words, and I can't, you know, form okay, this is what's going on, this is a solution. I can't form a solution to my problem. It's just it's everything is blurry up here, and then I get mad.
Yeah.
And I'm mad, and I'm like, I can't, and I think it's because I can't find a solution to the problem, and this is bothering me, so I'm jumping to get mad at it more than I'm
Right.
thinking and trying to figure out, you know, the best solution for it. So I'm gonna talk to my psychiatrist about switching this medicine, because maybe this is not what I should be taking.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's honestly, it's been the last 2 weeks have honestly been, in my opinion, I'm gonna be honest, it's probably been the worst in terms of like what I'm going through, the worst last 2 weeks. I've been doing stuff that's not me,
Right.
and it almost feels like, what exactly is going on? That's the question that I ask myself all the time. Every day that I've been waking up, I ask myself, what is going on with me? Why am I, you know, why is this happening? Why am I doing this? Why am I reacting to this? Why am I saying this? Why am I? It's a lot of self-reflecting and trying to find, you know, who I am right now, and what exactly is going on with me. So it's been rough, but
Yeah, and I didn't even know you was going through that. Like
Yeah.
this is the first I'm hearing.
So let me ask you, Ty, do you also find yourself, or did you find yourself also self-medicating, trying to just get through the day, trying to numb things? Are you that, has that been a factor for you?
I mean, growing up where we grew up, and you know, just being a young black man, I think I could speak for probably 90% of our race when I say our medication is smoking, drinking, partying. You know, that's the way out from dealing with this.
Mm,
you know White people, they know how to go and get this medicine, or they have the resources to go and get that actual help. We don't. Growing up in poverty, growing up in, you know, the like you said, oh, you better go to work, you better stop acting, you know, like you acting like you're depressed. That's what they would tell. Oh, stop acting like you're
Right.
depressed, get up and go to work.
yeah.
Not acting.
Well, not me
Right.
though. You know, not me as a parent.
Right.
Like,
No, not
No,
right.
no,
Right.
no. Just
Right.
society.
Right. Not you, but
just
I'm
making
saying.
sure I wasn't part of the problem. You know, it's time
No,
to do some
no. And
reevaluating.
I
Okay.
wasn't even necessarily talking about like your parents. Yes, some parents do that, but I was talking about, like, you know, your peers and stuff,
Society
like,
and
right,
peers. Okay.
society, right, where they would tell you, like, you know, you acting like this,
Yeah.
and that's not what you know. You know, you need money right now, or you know, you have to do this and that and the third. You know, stop acting like that and go out and do what you got to do,
Yeah.
when they really don't know what you're going through. And, you know, everybody goes through something. Uncle Daniel actually said something earlier today that what did he say?
when he talked about, I think I know exactly what you're talking about, when he talked about, you know, what he went through is not, it may not seem as severe or as like catastrophic as what somebody else has gone through.
Right. That's exactly it. Yes, thank you.
Because a lot, let me just say this while you're formulating what you want to say. A lot of people will say that and do that to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What we go through for us, it could be very traumatic for you.
Right.
Your traumatic and your trauma has nothing to do with someone else's, the depth of what someone else went through. Right. So I need that to be clear for us as a village, as a people. Mm-hmm. Don't downplay what you've been through. And I love that you said that, Hyfa. But go ahead, Ty.
Yes, I do love that you said that too, because that's something else that I'm learning right now, is that just because you don't think, and it's the humbleness too, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm going through this, but somebody else don't got a mother right now. Yeah. Somebody else just lost a cousin. Somebody else just lost ability to use their arms. Somebody, everybody goes through something, but just like you said, everybody goes through something in life.
Right.
That's just how it's going to be. Life is just going to life. And what you said to me the other day, God doesn't put more on you than what you can handle. This may be something that's just so traumatic to you that you actually need to be getting that help. And I'm understanding that now, and I'm actually going through that process now of understanding a lot of stuff that Uncle Daniel is saying right now, or Hype. I keep saying Uncle Daniel.
You can say Uncle Daniel. I don't care. You my nephew, man. I
know
like
that's
that.
Right. The world know him as Hype, but he's here.
Right. I know him as Uncle Daniel, so I'm gonna call him Uncle Daniel. Feel me, bro? A lot of
privilege,
stuff. A lot of stuff, and he'll even tell you that he's still learning stuff. I love the humbleness that he has, because when I'm talking to him individually, he'll tell me, like, I'm still learning stuff and I'm still going through stuff. But a lot of stuff that he just told me he went through, and he understands now that I'm just now understanding and going through myself. Mm-hmm. So also reach out, reach out to your elders, and reach out to people. I love talking to Uncle Daniel, Uncle Emmanuel, my mother, pops, Auntie Fadge, people that's older than me that has the wisdom. Grandma especially, she's very wise. They just know, they just went through it already. They know. So a lot of stuff that he was saying that he learned then, I'm learning now.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
And depression is something just like addicts. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, I was done. You good.
Recovering addicts will say, that's why, like, when they, like, if they go to AA, when they do their introduction, they'll say, even though they don't drink no more, or they don't do whatever, they'll say, I'm an alcoholic. Because when you have ailments, they don't just disappear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not on medication no more. I'm not diagnosed with clinical depression no more, but it's still there. Like, you just learn how to manage it. You learn it's still there. I think Allah blessed me to go through that at an early age in life, so that now when I go through things now, I don't, they don't rock me like they would have back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, back then things used to rock me like that. Now, I got more to deal with now than I did back then. Because I went through that back then. Now I'm able to, but it's still there. It's still, you just learn how to.
Absolutely. I love that you say that, because that's part of the wisdom when you are blessed to get older. And that's part of the wisdom that we have to give to the next generation that's coming up, that things happen. Things are going to happen, right? But you use those things as stepping stones. Right now, everything is like instant gratification. I want this now, not wanting to put the time into it, not wanting to have the patience to get to where you want to be. But hearing, us in our generation, And even now, the generation under us, because we getting older, so the generation under us got a generation under them already. So we not even in that that young buck stage no more. But to be able to let them know that, hey, and these were some jewels that I didn't grasp at a younger age, where I used to beat myself up and say, man, if I would have just listened and stopped being so daggone hard-headed and rebellious when I was young, because mommy used to try to give me them gems when I was younger. And, me being, I had to question everything. I needed to know why. Oh, that doesn't make sense to me. I need you to explain that, because that doesn't make sense. Well, she used to tell me that things like, you can learn from someone else's experiences. You don't have to go down that same path in life if you have someone there that's giving it to you. And my response was, well, how am I gonna learn the lesson if I don't experience it myself? I had to experience it. I gotta know these things. I can't just. And she would calmly say, listen, if I'm telling you that if you go down that road, don't step 3 steps on the right on this side, it's a landmine. Don't go 4 steps over and step to the left, because that's a landmine. If you step on it, it's going to explode. You might hurt yourself. You might kill yourself. Why would you then go down that road and go 3 steps and step to the right, and then go to the left and 4 steps up and step to the left? Because you have to experience it for yourself? No. Understanding that we going to go through things, but we can, if we have an open mind where someone else can pour into you, and you actually feel like you are worthy of receiving the gems that they're trying to pour into you, we can get a lot farther in life. We can get a lot farther if we, and I say we because us as Black folks, sometimes we get in a state where we are still experiencing the generational trauma of, you're not better than me. So what makes you think you know something better than me? You can't teach me nothing, because how do you know what I've been through? You don't know what I've been through. That whole you're not better than me syndrome. So I'm not going to listen to you. Some people have that with their own parents, with their own people, with their own people who really truly love them. And they don't receive the help because, number one, they don't feel like they're worthy. They start sabotaging themselves, and they think, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. You think you're smarter than me. You're not smarter than me. So
what you used to say, a hard head make a soft behind.
Hard head make a soft behind. And that I got from my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And she passed that down to my mom. And so, listening to, Ty, you're going through this mental storm right now for yourself, and I commend you for speaking up, because some people will try to hide that and say, no, I'm good, ain't nothing wrong with me. So I commend you for allowing yourself to release it right now while you're going through it, because some people will hold on to it, don't know how to say, listen, I've been going through something, but I'm getting through it, and this is what I'm using to get through it. You're giving a voice to what's going on with you, to let somebody else know. Somebody else is going to hear this podcast, and they're going to be able to relate to the both of you, forgiving what you've been through in your life. But y'all know I like to say, we not what we've been through. So now that we know some of the history that y'all been through, Hyfa, talk to the people about where you are now. I started out saying, you ringing bells down there. You've gotten through, or you may be still battling it, but you're able to manage it better because of the wisdom that you have behind you. You know how to hold on to your peace, like we talked about earlier. But right now, you ringing bells. You don't went to Tampa. You completed. Let's say that first. You completed. I need that whole bell thing, that music effect thing going on. But right now, I only got it with my mouth, so I'm gonna say. Got your first degree, your business management from Pace, right? So you did ultimately go on to graduate, and you graduated on time.
Yes, sir.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it. I appreciate that.
And then, not only that, you came back to Newburgh for a while, and we had a conversation, and I told you, I said, listen, don't feel so. And we had a conversation, and we tend to be very loyal as a people. People I think kind of misjudge us, but I think we're very loyal as just as a whole. We hold on to family. They'll have you think that we savages against each other, black on black crime, all that stuff. But us as a people, to be honest, we're very loyal. So your loyalty was, to home. You had a Newburgh kind of wanted to have a hold on you, even though you weren't from the streets. Your family was there. You had you had opportunities, so you thought, right? You came home from Pace, but then you decided that you was going to go to Tampa, and you was going to go to school to Tampa and get your second degree in Tampa. Talk about that a little bit, because now these are accomplishments after that storm. Right? Well, after that storm. Talk about the experience of going to Tampa for the first time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, like when I came home from school in 2006, because mind you, Pace is only 40 minutes away. So I came home to live and stay back in Newburgh.
Yeah.
But I was always back and forth. Like when I went to Pace, I was in school, but I was coming back home a lot, just hanging out. And the stuff that I avoided when I was in the stuff that I avoided when I was in high school and junior high school on the street, I started you know what I mean? I started like dabbling into it when I was at Pace.
Yeah.
So I'll come home and I'll be up in the heights on the block. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't hustling, but I was out there.
Yeah.
Cops started attaching me to the block. They started harassing me, you know, in there chasing me on my bike.
Wow.
To flag me down. I remember one time I was riding this is '06. I'm riding my bike to go get a haircut. The night before that, there was a kind of like a mini riot on the block because two girls got into a fight or whatever, and the police came and they maced the girl. So then the block was about to jump on the cops. So we was all out there. They was like lined up, scared across lined up on the wall.
Yeah.
So all that happened the night before, or maybe a couple of nights before. So I'm riding my bike to the barbershop. When I get to Broadway, like I notice a cop follow me from the top of Liberty Street all the way down to Liberty Street to now. This you in a car, I'm on a bike, so I know you can pass me. You driving,
right?
They stayed behind me that whole time. I was like, man. So I'm riding. I get to Broadway and I start riding fast across the street because I'm dodging the cars. Like I don't want to get hit. Mind you, this is when at the time when you cross Broadway, Liberty Street turned into a one-way at the time.
Yeah.
Now it's a two-way all the way down.
Yeah.
I cross Broadway, I get to Liberty Street. They ran the light, turned the lights on, and stopped me on my bike.
Wow.
So I'm like, what's wrong? What's up? They asked, where you going? I'm going to get a haircut. You got an ID on you? I'm like, yeah, I'll give my ID. And I'm like, what? So they was like, well, nah, you just started riding real fast when you got to Broadway. You thought you was running from us. I was like, man, I'm trying not to get hit by cars. What I got to run from you for? Like, what did you see me do something? Did you see me make a sale or something like that? You ain't see me. I was riding my bike. You know what I'm saying? So they made me take my hat off, make sure I had drugs in my hat, and then it was like, all right, you can go. And he was like, peace out. And I was like, man, all right. So I went.
Wow.
So
classic racial profiling.
Yeah. So yeah, I was. But so when I graduated, I wasn't really excited because I didn't have no job. Like college was like an extension of high school for me. It was like the 13th grade, basically, because I didn't know what an internship was until my very last year of college. And so when I went to try to get an internship, they didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
So that was it. So when I was coming home, I wasn't excited because I was like, man, I'm just going back to the hood. I don't got no job set up. I came home, I couldn't get it was hard to get a job. I had finally got a job at CNS. The job was mine to take, and I failed the drug test. So, so then I started working. I was so mad. And then so I started working at, and CNS at that time was like the best job you could have in Newburgh.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean?
Yep.
So I started working at Labor Ready. You know what I mean? I was getting little side jobs,
Yeah.
like dead end jobs. Like I had to clean out a barn one time. And that like it was just me and one other dude. We was cleaning out a barn. And when I tell you it was it was a barn when you walked in, it looked like it was dirt stacked up. All of that was just it was feces and piss. It was goat feces and piss that was just stacked up. It was like 3 feet of it, and we had to clear all of that out and roll it and bring it to a field that was like maybe 50 feet away. Me and one other dude. The only thing
Oh,
that
because
got
it's fertilizer.
yeah,
They was
but it
using it
was
as fertilizer.
well, I don't know what they was using it for. They just needed the barn cleaned out. They needed because it stacked up so high that eventually they got to clear it out because that's where they bring the goats and stuff. So it just stacked up. It was like 3 feet of it. So we it stank so bad in there. And then so the only thing that got me through that was like, yo, I and my ancestors had to do this for free when they brought them over here. That's so in my mind, and me and homeboy was talking about that. They was like, dang, imagine that, man. Like we ain't had no choice back in the day. We had to do this and not get paid for it. So I finished it. So I'm like, and then it was crazy because I'm working at Labor Ready under a false name, under a
What?
false name. Because when you go to those temp agencies, you gotta take a test. You know what I mean? So it's easy to pass, but I failed it because I kept like I was real like they asked what okay. So one of the questions on the test was like, if you're on the job and somebody hits you in the face, what are you gonna do? A, hit him back. B, so I'm like, I'm gonna hit him back.
Okay,
I
next
was
applicant, please.
so I answered and I failed it. They was like, yo, how you feeling? I'm like, yo, they asking me dumb questions. That's my right I got a right to defend myself. I don't care if I'm on the job. Yeah, but for the sake of this, you got. So I failed it. So there was a dude.
Yo.
There was a dude named I forgot what his first name was Warren. I forgot what the last name was, but he hadn't been coming to get jobs or nothing. So they was like, "Yo, take the test again. Take it under this name. He ain't been coming." So I took it under that name and I passed it. So they was giving me jobs as this name. So when we would go to jobs, they would have to call me Warren. I had to get used to answering to that name. So after I was done, like after I stopped working at Labor Ready and all that. Oh dang, man, I'm saying the name. My bad.
It's
Hopefully they,
okay.
you know what I mean. But so after I finished, somebody called me. Somebody that went there. Matter of fact, the dude that went there, he know Emmanuel and Nate too because he was a little older than me. Um, but he was like, "Yo, son, you never believe what happened." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yo, guess who showed up to work yesterday? Warren."
Warren.
What? Yeah. So,
Yo.
yup. So I did that. And then I worked at a deco. That's another temp agency. So I
Yeah.
was doing that. I was doing that, and I also still had to take a class at school. So when I came home, basically, long story short, I'm still in the hood. I'm like getting caught up in things in Newburgh. Almost getting into fights on the block, in a messed up relationship where I learned a lot of lessons. Almost fighting a dude over the girl and all this nonsense. I'm walking around with a pipe in my pocket, because you know what I'm saying, because I didn't have, that was the only thing I could get at the time. So in the middle of the summer of '06, a school contacted me from Tampa. So one of my boys that I used to rap with in the group, he had came down here to go to he was trying to go to Full Sail, but he ended up coming across International Academy of Design and Technology, and he gave my name as a reference. So they ended up calling me and see if I was interested. And it was funny because the dude that called me, I thought that was my boy Nigel playing a prank on me, but it was actually an advisor. And it was like, nah. I was like, Nigel, man, stop playing. They was like, no, Nigel gave us your name, but so I ended up like really like considering it, and then I applied and I came down because I had to get out of Newburgh because I was like, I was becoming a product of the environment, what I'm saying? And I felt like if I ain't leave, something bad was gonna happen. So I came down here, went to school down here. I was home every 3 months. I was going to school down here. I graduated in 2009. I went back, came back, I went back home, and the situation I wasn't in as a severe situation as I was in '06 as far as like getting caught up on the street and stuff like that in '06. But when I came home in 2010, stuff was happening around me that could involve me and stuff, and it could have me. I got shot at, what I'm saying, in 2010 just for certain colors I was wearing. So it was something to do with that, what I'm saying. So got shot at, and then my other nephew, he got stabbed up, um, and I just happened to be at work that night. You know what I'm saying? And I would have been with him.
Let me
And then
interject. Let me interject real quick and say, nothing happens by chance. And me and you talked about this because you weren't supposed to be with him that night. You said that backwards. You said you weren't supposed to be work at night. Yeah, for them, they didn't have you on the schedule, but then they called you in and you went into work.
I don't even remember that. I thought I was on the schedule.
You weren't on the schedule when they called you in. And then he got stabbed up and you were beating yourself up because you felt like you were supposed to be with him, but Allah said you wasn't supposed to be there. Because we always pray to be protected from things. And regardless of whether you were at that time praying for yourself to be protected, know that you were prayed for. Right? And so when we ask, because mommy knows mommy was praying for you, you have family. And this is where we talk about legacy, and people take that word legacy so lightly because they don't really know what legacy is. But when you have a legacy of a family that stays close knit, that stays caring for each other, that stays praying over each other, praying about each other, God answers prayers. And so you were prayed for. And when that happened with him, I never forget, you came home, you were so mad. You just wanted to fight the world because you felt like you were supposed to be there to protect him. And I had to let you know, no, you weren't supposed to be there. Allah already got that. We sometimes think that our power is the ultimate power, and it's not. Because you're human, just like he's human, just like the other person is human. If you got shot, if you got stabbed and it hit an artery, guess who wouldn't be here? And it would have been by association. It would have been by you trying to help someone else. There's so many people that have died over other people's circumstances where you felt like, I got to be there to protect them. No, some people you just got to pray for and you let, because they got their own thing going on. Just like with blessings. Oh, alhamdulillah. Just like with blessings, everybody is not supposed to be part of your blessings. We be trying to bring people along because we feel like we up and we doing this and oh yeah, and you think that this person is good for you and you trying to bring them with you, but you start realizing that dang, every time I try to include them, then everything go wrong. And what I thought was supposed to happen is probably because you trying to bring somebody along in your blessing that ain't supposed to be there. And so when we pray again for protection, people start dropping off, and we be trying to go back and pick them people up. Okay, well, you really want to, you asked me for protection, I'm protecting you. I took that person away from you, or I took that situation away from you, and then you try to go back to it. And so we had that conversation, and I told you, I said, listen, you here and you trying to be loyal to a place that is not serving you, and to people whom, when you leave here and go there and come back, they still gonna be doing the same thing. Just like I said, when you went to college for the first round, you came back and then people still doing the same thing that they was doing when they graduated from high school. They still in the same place, standing on the same block, doing the same thing, getting in the same trouble. You don't went and got a degree. Now you gonna stay here and be loyal to them for what? For what?
It's
But
crazy. Like
alhamdulillah, you listened. And alhamdulillah, Allah gave me the words. And not only the words, but the care to want to tell you that. Because some people's like, hey, he an adult. So what, he my little brother? I don't care. He gonna do what he gonna do anyway. I can't tell him nothing. But God allowed me to have that care for you. And he gave me the words to tell you. And he gave you the heart and the respect for me as an older sister to say, dang, you know what? She might be right.
yeah, it's a fact. That's a fact. And it was like in I remember it's crazy because like in '06 when I came home from college, I remember I would do stuff like when I went to the interview for CNS, I was dressed up, you know what I'm saying, with khakis and business casual.
Yeah.
And I came from the interview, and I go to the block with that on.
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm like, yo, I want to get, because some of the cats was a little younger than me. Like, saying, like Trev, he was a little younger than me, and of course, our nephew Nate, he was out there. So I'll be like, so I'll go out there so they can see me in that and then be like, yo, yeah, nah, son, that's what's up. It's hopefully they, would go do that too. And I remember Trev, he had he had came to me like months later when he had got his first job, whatever. He was like, "Yo, I got a job."
That's
Like, word, that's what's up. You know what I mean? I remember I brought little Nate an application to on the block because he was like he never had an application before. So I went to Burger King and got him one. And I brought it out, and he was sitting there staring at it like the whole time. When I walked away, he was like, "Yo, thanks, Unc. I appreciate you."
wow.
Happy to have an application in his hand. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I was like, man, shoot, that
Little things that we take for granted. And that's beautiful because I feel like you brought that spirit with you and went and brought it with you to Tampa, because talk a little bit about how you got, I feel like that's always been in you. That's just who you are. And you were able to bring that down because now you work with at-risk children.
yeah, and it really found me because I didn't know I was gonna end up doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like it. Um, so I'm a youth development specialist for the Skill Center, and I'm also an advocate for the YAP program. So the YAP is youth advocate programs.
Yeah.
That's what YAP stands for. So and I mentor youth, middle schoolers, and high schoolers, but like more concentrated on middle school. Um, yeah, I got into that like through music, you know what I'm saying? So I started, this is 2011. I got a job as a music production instructor for the Prodigy Cultural Arts Program.
Because that's your second degree, right? When you went to Tampa, is that
Yeah,
what's your specific degree from in Tampa?
so well, from Pace I got business administration.
Okay.
And then Tampa, I got a bachelor's in business administration from Pace, and I got a bachelor's in fine arts, the recorded arts section of fine arts
Okay.
in Tampa.
Okay.
So both of my degrees, well, my fine arts degree helped me get that job as a contracted instructor. And then when I started, as I started um, with that job, eventually I moved up to program assistant. My business administration degree helped me get the program assistant job, and then eventually site manager for Prodigy Coach for the Prodigy Coach Arts program.
Okay.
So that was and that was CDC of Tampa is where I started my with being a Prodigy instructor, and then
Congratulations.
yeah, and then I went from there to Boys and Girls Club as
Yeah.
a site manager, and then while I was at Boys and Girls Club, I got that promoted to director, and I was a director for about 9 months. I directed 3 different clubs, and then I from there back to Prodigy, and I was with Prodigy Central as a site liaison, and then
Wow.
they became the program manager of Prodigy, and then I left there. I was there for 8.5 years. I left there last year and went to the Skill Center where I'm at now. And while I was at Skill Center, I came across the YAP program because they want to partner with the Skill Center, and I started working part time with them as a youth advocate. So I'm able to sign kids up from the YAP program to the Skill Center too, and that gives them like multiple mentors because with the YAP program they already have an advocate. So I tell anybody, if you got middle schoolers that's looking for activities, they bring them to the Skill Center. I sign them up. So now with the Skill Center, I'm their youth development specialist, but they still have a YAP advocate as well. So,
Wow.
and it's just building a village around them.
Do you ever find yourself sharing, being an advocate for the youth? Do you ever find yourself sharing some of your story with them?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Because even it's funny you say that. Like we had a session the week before last, I think, and I shared bits and pieces of my story. I talked about um I talked about Nate to them, and I forgot what certain scenarios I've been through
Yeah.
where I quick decision making got us out of a high speed chase with the cops and all that's like
Wow.
it's crazy because like that's what I'm saying, like I don't be realizing all of the stuff that I experienced
Yeah.
a lot of times until I'm talking to somebody else and I have to like kind of dive into it. I'm like,
Dive into go back and you say, man, I really have. And this is why it's not our place to downplay what we've been through, because everything that you've been through created you now, right now, who you are right now. And those who have the courage to share their story is they share their stories with the intentions of reaching out, reaching back,
yeah,
reaching to older, because some people are older and you think, oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but
nah,
you
I
can't.
tell the
Just
kids,
somebody hearing a story and saying, man, if they can do that, I could do that too. If they
that,
can overcome that, I can do that too. So
that,
that's beautiful that you're in a space where you can share that. Ty, you fast forward for you, you know, going through, well, not even really fast forward for you because you're kind of like in the midst of it, but while you were going through that, you decided that you were going to take, you always been a techie, you always been into gaming and things like that. So I thought it was really dope that you decided that you wanted to get certified in cybersecurity. What made you like, that's not something typical for Black men. I don't think, like, I don't know what the statistics are for that, but it's not something that you think. I think it's dope that you did that. What made you say, wait a minute, I think I want to dive into that and get certified to do that? What brought you to that?
Well, it's funny because to answer that, I don't know the statistics either, but it's funny
Yeah.
because going through the I think it was like a 9 month program, 10 month program, something like that.
Yeah.
And going through the whole processing, going through the whole program or whatever, they actually encourage all sorts of different uh ethicals and different races, and yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
because they say, excuse me, sorry, they say cybersecurity, you're feeding off of one another, and different things that you go through in life can actually help you with cybersecurity, which is really funny.
Okay.
You might look at something, let's say you and the person that you're next to, let's say your SOC right next to you, you guys are looking at coding, and
Yeah.
you see something and they see something totally different just because of what they've been through in life. They're like, oh
Right.
no, wait, you're trying to stop them from going through the back door right here. We actually can block that off and actually send a loophole so that they're trying to crack it. And so it's really funny, because everything that you go through, they say that you can actually use in cybersecurity.
Wow.
But my older sister, she actually, to Ariana, she actually one day was just like, hey, cybersecurity. I was like, hey, why not?
Why not?
And I did it, and I went through it, and it was they was telling me that it was vigorous work. I mean, us, everybody that was in my class,
Yeah.
that it was vigorous work, and just stick through it, and I stuck through it, and I got
And here
my
you are.
certificate, so I was grateful for that.
Wow.
Mm.
That's dope. So a little bit of insight on where you plan to go with this. What are you opening your own? What you doing with?
So I definitely, so all right, so I coming right out of it, I was looking for a job because it's very hard to get into to cybersecurity, and that's the funny thing about it, right? I got my certificates, like, yeah, ooh, now I'm about to get a job. The company that I actually got my certificate from wasn't one of those companies where it's like, all right, we need cybersecurity analysts, so we're going to train you guys and then give you guys a job. No, they got us in the door. They help with resume and stuff like that, and helped you just your professional background to be able to get into a job. But it's very hard to be, to get into the beginner
In
stage.
that
Right. It's
entry level. It's hard to get
very
entry
hard for
level.
you. Right.
Wow.
So one way that I decided to go in my my after you get your certificate and graduate and everything, they
Mm-hmm.
actually have you like a teacher that actually helps you. So one way I went to him one day and I was like, one way that I want to get into this job, right? It's a the job that I work at right now. It's insurance for your phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And dealing with people's personal information, their SSI and stuff like that, I just knew that they had a great cybersecurity team. I mean, you have to. You're dealing with so many people's important information and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay. They sent me hey, we saw you put an application in, yada yada. So I went to my teacher and I was like, what I want to do is actually get into this job, as just like a what is it?
Marketer. Mm-hmm.
Telemarketer,
Yeah.
and work my way up to cybersecurity, and that they were telling us that they promote in
In house.
building right in house more than they go out and look. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with a telemarketer, and I'm gonna work my way up to cybersecurity just from being on time every day, not missing work, just being a very good candidate to, hey, we have this important position in our company open. We
Yeah.
see that you're a great worker.
Yeah.
You come here every day, you're on time every day. I see you put in an application. We would like to give you an interview. So that's how I'm trying to position myself into getting into cybersecurity rather than to keep doing 1,000 applicants and then one just hits. I feel like this way was probably the best way. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Talk about gaming a little bit, because I know gaming had become your passion, and then even more so after your injury, because of course you couldn't get up, and so you really kind of just really dove head first. You got into streaming.
Mhm.
You've always been. I tell you all the time that you have the gift of laughter, which is not, everybody doesn't have that, and people don't sometimes recognize it as a gift, and it's not. Well, I always told y'all, listen, I don't send y'all to school to be class clowns. That was a big thing. Don't fit you ain't going in here to have these folks laughing at you. You going to school with a purpose. Now, when you after you
Ma,
graduate, no,
how many calls you got?
I'm about to say, don't.
How many calls
We're
you
not gonna go there. We got a lot of calls You know, me and Pops riding past the actual school. We driving down the street, and they call us, and he said, "Oh, we right around the corner."
Oh
But,
man.
yeah, but you know, fast forward, if you still have that ability to do that when you know, not to say that you know, that you cultivate that while you're in school, you know, but if you do have that gift, which you do, you know, you have the gift of making me laugh and everybody around you, you know, when you come, and it's not, it's something that is just so natural in you. And so to hear you sometimes be in a state of where you're feeling down or feeling depressed, it's like, wow, that just really doesn't feel like him. And then I know you started pouring yourself into the gaming as an outlet for you. You know, you had a love for it before, but being able to express that part of your personality and just kind of diving into it like other people dive into, you know, alcohol, drugs, they just drown themselves in a bottle. You decided that gaming, you could do that. And, you know, being in the cyber tech world and gaming and being able to be yourself because you're streaming and you're able to talk and interact with other people in there. How is that working for you? Do you feel like it's really the outlet, the route that you that is safe for you to go through when you're dealing with, you know, your this mental storm that you're going through now? How is it doing for you?
Okay. So, yes, like you said, I've always been into gaming. I mean, yeah, growing up, just being a boy, you know, you just want to play video games all day, you know. So, but I never really, was a deep gamer in terms, because when I was younger, it was, we may play video games at night, but throughout the day we outside. We
Yeah.
outside playing basketball, football, around the corner, playing with our friends. Like I was, me and my
Right.
brothers, we was always outside. So gaming didn't hit me until about 2020. I would say 20,
And
yeah, 2020. Yep. Um, I actually built my very first computer. I actually built myself. I just recently purchased my second computer, and it was pre-built. But I actually brought all the components to a PC, a gaming PC, and I built it myself back in 2021, something like that.
yeah,
Um, just learning, it was so fascinating, just learning the different components and learning, I'm Googling like, how many components do you actually need for a PC to run and, to work fine. And, you're learning about the CPUs, your GPUs, your coolants, your fans, what type of motherboard you're going to have, having the power cord has to be strong enough to for all of your components to actually work. So you got to figure out what power cord actually works for the motherboard that you have, and the 12 core versus the 24 core in your CPU. It's just so fascinating to learn and to just dive into. And I just fell into like just this wormhole of just learning all of this information, and it was very interesting to me. So I did it. I bought all my components. It took over a year for me to buy all my components because they were very expensive. And I even went on the cheaper end, and they were still very expensive for somebody who had two kids and, was living the life. I was still trying to get into, sports, and I was trying to go overseas for basketball. So I was still living life, but I was, okay, look, this power cord is $100. This week I can afford that. So, it took over about a year for me to actually get all my components. And nowadays is so fascinating and actually so great because entertainment is in our hands, right? I'm holding this phone right now, the iPad right there charging, my desktop downstairs. It is in our grasp. We don't have to go through things like when I was growing up. I remember watching, the big time gamers, in Call of Duty, they was part of Phase and optic and different, and that's how you had to get into gaming. Nowadays you can, just like you said, you have a personality and you have a camera,
yeah,
and you just sit that up, and you just literally are you while you're gaming, and it's honestly just very fun, right? Because you just can be yourself, and if you think about it, I remember, I don't know if you guys know Kai Cenat. He's one of
Yeah.
the biggest streamers right now. He's huge. He actually just signed this crazy deal with Twitch, 10-year, like some crazy $1 million. Kai Cenat, um, he was saying it's working a 9 to 5 versus being a streamer, which one was harder? And he's like, a 9 to 5, absolutely. Because even though with streaming, you are your boss, right? You have to wake up, you have to know what you're doing for the day, you have to edit it, you have to everything is up to you, whether or not you're making $100 million that year, or you're making $50 million that year. It was up to you, but you are doing something that you love, right? Like, I'm doing something I love, is what he said. Like, I love this. I love getting in front of a camera. I love interacting with people, the hundreds or the thousands of people who are in my stream. I love doing this. So a 9 to 5 is absolutely harder, and I wholeheartedly agree with him, even though I'm not, of course, I'm not on his level just yet. I might have 5 people in my stream at one time right now, and I'm loving it. I'm in the chat like, hey, chat, what's the best struggle meal ever? And everybody's like, oh, bologna sandwiches. I'm like, bologna sandwich? Ah, nah, I ain't no bologna sandwiches. And look, it's the hot dogs and it's the rice. You cut the hot dogs up, the rice, that's the best. You interacted with just them 5 people, and it's just so funny. It's so fun. So I've definitely dove into gaming just as an outlet. And it's been a ride. I'm still in the beginning stages, and it's been fun already. So I'm honestly just ready for what's next in the streaming world and just gaming world. Period. So yeah.
I love that for y'all. So before we wrap up, and I'm gonna pose this question to the both of you, and whoever wants to jump in first, go ahead and jump in. What would you say to a young Black man right now who is out there and they are struggling with dealing with the weight of whatever has happened with them in their lives up until that point? What would you say to them? What's their next move? They're at a space where they don't know what to do right now, but they know they got to do something. What message would you have for them right now? Whoever wants to answer first, and then the next one.
Well, I definitely the first thing. Well, we grew up Muslim. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing, whether you're Muslim, Christian, whether pray. You know what I'm saying? Pray, get close to the Lord. Get close to God. So I think that's the first step. You know what I'm saying? You definitely got to pray, and then you got to tie your camel. You got to go and do the work. So reach out to who, some people, it may be family, it may not be family. Some people, family may be the source of their problems. So like, find who you could talk to that will give you sound advice and help guide you through what you're going through. Understand that you're not going to have all of the answers, and that's normal, and that's okay. It's okay that you don't know the solution to the problem right now. You know what I'm saying? And so we're gonna leave this earth not knowing everything. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't find out something, that's a mercy of God that He gives us, that you could just say Allahu Alam, or in English, it's in God's hands, because there's some things that we're not going to be able to figure out, and that's okay. Your heart's still beating, you still got what you have, so just know that it's okay if you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? We not God, and it's a combination lot. Like, you gotta try to help yourself, uh, and other people, get other people to try to help, but know that that last combination is you. You can, like, when it comes, whether it's depression, with it, like, especially depression, like, we fortunate to have a support system, but ultimately that person has to navigate through that. And I mean, you can get all the help in the world, but if you don't try to navigate through it, if you're not trying, then other people are not gonna be able to do it for you. So, reach out, but be ready to do the work as well. You know what I'm saying? And just don't get down on yourself when you feel like you're not doing it. Because sometimes we'll feel like we're not doing it, and we are. You know what I'm saying? We just in it. You know what I mean? You can't see outside of it because you're in it.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful. I love it. Ty?
All right, so definitely, I feel like you hit the nail on the head, because that's
It's hard to follow that up. I
it's
know.
hard to follow
My
up on
bad.
that.
I
I
should
ain't
have let
gonna
you go
lie.
first, but
that's all
and then
good.
wisdom follow up. But go ahead. The floor is
No,
yours.
definitely the first thing that I would say is exactly what he said. One, breathe, take a second and just breathe, right? Because your heart's still pumping, blood is still flowing, you are still alive, you are still here, right? So you may feel like I don't know, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, everything is crashing down around me, etc., but as long as your heart is still pumping and your blood is still running through your veins, you are still alive. There is still an outage to this. You got to calm down first and just breathe, right? And then the second thing that I would say is definitely reach out. Like, my support system, it's strong outside of this person, but this person has always been, my person, and that's my mother. Anytime something is happening, I reach out to her immediately, and we like to call her, or she like to let you call yourself Google Mom, because
You gave me that name. Don't even try it. That's you. You told them I was Google
I could
Mom. There's
lose
no such thing as Google.
the remote to my TV, and I'm like, Ma, should I find the remote or should I just go out and get another one? I don't know which one is more which one's better. I don't know. So definitely reach out to whoever, and like Uncle Daniel said, it might not be your family. It might be, your family might be the cause of it, but this friend that you grew up with might know everything that you've been through, and that person is just that person that you can just go to. It might be, your pastor if you're Christian, your imam if you're Muslim right down the street. It could be your cousin, anybody. For me, it's like I said, it's my mother. Whenever I'm, having anxiety attack, or I'm having panic attacks, or I'm just frustrated, period, I'll reach out to her, because her and my grandmother. When I was younger, I didn't like reaching out to my grandmother, because she's not gonna tickle anything. She's not gonna softly. She gonna tell you it hard body. It feel like sleeping with no clothes on a rock. That's how it feel like when she give whatever she gonna give to you. That's exactly how it feels. It's cold and it's stone cold as
But
that.
when you wake up in the morning off of that cold rock, it seems like it's sunshine, and you're like, what did I do without this?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a bright side to it.
There's a bright side to it, because as I got older, I realized that I was younger, I wanted to be baby. Now I don't need to be baby. I just need the stone cold facts, and she's gonna give that to you. And I love that. So reach out to your support system, and know that you're not alone, right? With anything that you're going through, there's always going to be, whatever your support system is. Like I said, thank God, that my family is my support system. But whatever your support system is, reach out to them and know that you're not going through whatever you're going through alone. And even if it's just tuning into Aseelah, podcast, or whatever the case may be, you like I plug that in right there. You like I plug that.
I love it.
Whether it's reaching out, because we your support system too. She's your support system too. She was there for us. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind spreading her wisdom and spreading her love out to y'all too. So
just a little bit, and I'm a finish that off with also saying, don't be afraid to go get professional help. Don't be afraid to look in the phone book. Look, I'm dating myself talking about a phone book. Go on Google. All right, my bad. Go to Google Business, right? And look at the reviews. take a second. Don't just call anybody. Look at the reviews. Most places, you know, they have Google business spaces and they have reviews. Look at the reviews. Look at what other people are saying about that person, about that business, about the staff that works there. Because when you start reaching out for help, you have to be vulnerable. You're placing yourself in a vulnerable state to reach out and say, hey, I need help. And if you're going to someone, you know, regardless of, you know, whether it's the personal aspect of it or it's a professional, don't be scared to reach out. You have to release, you got to bring down your wall. And if you have to go for help professionally, because sometimes it's not just about, okay, I got to pray and then I got to go do some things. Sometimes there is a real chemical imbalance in the body, especially when you're self-medicating. Alcohol, drugs that we use, they do mess with your chemical balance. God didn't send us down here unequipped. So we come with a certain balance in all of our body fluids and all of how our DNA works. And when we start interjecting foreign things into it, it does sometimes take you off your chemical balance. And sometimes you need a reset. It's just like unplugging that computer that you talked about, letting it sit for a second and then plugging it back in. It gives a different currency. It gives things time to reset. And sometimes you need that. But don't just, I know it's hard, it may seem hard because you don't know who to trust. These are strangers, but that's why I say look at the reviews, see what other people are saying about them, and then go visit them. A lot of times they have, you know, where you can get a complimentary, just come in and sit and talk. Go feel out the environment, see how the office feels for you, find out how you vibe with that person, because sometimes it may take you a few professionals to talk to before you find that one that you feel like, man, I could go in there and just talk to them for hours. Somebody you might go and start to talk to and you instantly feel, they're not it. That's not hitting on something. So, you know, like combination of the both, what Ty said, breathe for a second. Don't think you have to rush into anything. Take your time. If you don't have a village around you, some of us don't, you don't have a village, you got to find somebody professional. Take your time and find the one that vibes with you, because the ultimate goal out of it is for you to get out of the space that you're in and to get to a space that you vision yourself at. Sometimes you don't even have that vision, so you need somebody to help you with that vision. You want someone who aligns with your spiritual self. You need someone that aligns with what your beliefs are, you know, or you need someone to teach you some new beliefs, but you want to have somebody where you trust what they're saying. So, you know, take some time to search out that professional if need be. If it's to the point where that's what you need to do, take that time out and don't be scared to go and say, hey, listen, yeah, I need professional help. Most insurances cover that. Most insurances, we think that, oh, we don't have the money, I don't have the money to go pay no psychiatrist to go give me no medication. Most insurances, including Medicaid, including the community insurances that are out here now, they do cover mental health. Take advantage of whatever, even if it's just the starter, because if the insurance doesn't cover it, they may have a sliding scale fee where you could pay a little bit each time that you go. You might have to come out of pocket, but know where your priorities are. That's where your legacy comes in at. That's where what am I doing with myself, especially when you have children? What do I want to leave with them? You know, God forbid I leave now. What am I leaving? A legacy of crazy, a legacy of, oh, maybe I shouldn't use the word crazy. That's not, because some people are really just going through, but a level of, I will say crazy, because crazy is thinking that you can do the same thing and get different results. You don't want to leave that legacy with your children, thinking that you could just go through life and keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expect something different after that. So pay attention to what you want your legacy to be for your children. And it has to start with your mental. It has to, because if you don't believe that there's better for you than where you are right now, if you're in your storm or you're coming out of your storm, but you're looking to go forward, if you don't believe that you deserve better than that, nobody else can do it for you, like Hyfa said. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you both so much for taking this time. Hey, a little choked up so tired because I obviously have love for the both of you. I definitely, and I thank you for taking the time to share your story, because this is not an easy story to share, you know. But know that if we just help one person, if one person tuned into this and it stopped them from doing something to harm themselves or harm someone else because they heard you and your story say, "Hey, listen, I made it through it," or "I'm getting through it because I reached out for help. I said something about it," then we've done our job here. And I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely.
So thank you both so much for this. And I definitely have all of the links. We didn't even get a chance to kind of go through what you guys are doing right now currently, where if someone wanted to reach out and get involved with you, but know that somewhere around the bottom of this, I've already been putting, you know, the links where they can link up with us on Twitch, on Facebook, IG, you know, all of the links. I know y'all gave me everything. So you know, it was probably popping up already, but know that if you guys want to reach out to either Hyfa, he definitely would be willing to hit a stage or two. You know, if you have a program going on and you need a conscious hip hop artist, because we need to get a chance to really dive into the music aspect of it. But I see you repping your Hyfa shirt. I love it. But maybe we'll have you, you know, hopefully that give us some segue to have you back again and just strictly talking about your music career and what you're doing, and Don back again talking about his music career, you know, as Don, you know, not the gamer. And so again, I thank y'all for that. I definitely, y'all, if y'all want to reach out to either one of them, I'm sure that they, you know, will answer some questions and kind of guide y'all in the right direction. But thank you again. And I just want to say thank you to God allowing us this day and allowing us to be present today. Because I always tell the kids and anybody else who listen, 80% of success is just showing up. And so we showed up today. We showed up. Y'all showed out today. So I thank y'all. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Peace and blessings.
Absolutely.